So Jay Leno has pre-apologized in attempts to avoid being canceled for jokes that he used to make about Asian people, particularly about North Koreans eating dogs, which I would imagine in their country is a delicacy. And now that he made the greatest mistake that a comedian can ever make by opening that door, I'm sure that this was just the first of many apologies to come. Next week, I'm sure he'll be apologizing to the Mexicans, because I'm sure at one point he joked about the street tacos in Tijuana being made from dog, because it's a very common joke in California. Well, I don't know if it's really fair to call it a joke. It's probably true, but you get my point. Then he'll apologize to black people because being a comedian in Los Angeles, I'm sure that he's made jokes about Compton, and of course today that's considered to be racist. One group that he won't apologize to, however, or any comedian or any person really, for saying any offensive things about, is the Catholic Church, because in the liberal media, you can't say anything offensive enough about Christians. You may recall that NBC fired him as the host of The Tonight Show, despite him being number one in the ratings. And I think he was number one for like 15 years in a row. And rumor has it that it was because he took the gloves off and finally started going after Obama, because none of the late night talk show hosts would touch him because Obama was considered to be too cool to be mocked.
The White House has admitted that President Obama's chief of staff had advance warning the IRS was targeting conservative groups, but never told the president. Well, President Obama says the first time he heard about the IRS scandal and the AP phone record scandal, first time he heard about it was from the media. See, that's why President Obama holds press conference, not to explain what's going on, to find out what's going on.
Then they replaced him with Jimmy Fallon, who I guess compared to the other late night hosts is sort of funny, but that was the end of late night comedy for me. This is extremely disappointing for me because Jay Leno was my inspiration for doing my Man on the Street interviews, because when I was a kid growing up, I would see his jaywalking segments of him interviewing morons, right? And I dreamt of one day having my own show and even hosting The Tonight Show myself. And then when YouTube came online, I thought, well, here's my chance, and look at me now.
I don't know if you saw the news, but the Merriam-Webster Dictionary Company has removed the word gullible from the 2016 dictionary editions to replace that word with other words like twerking. There's not enough room apparently in the dictionary for all the new words being used. You think that was the right word to take out? Should maybe they have removed some other words that aren't used as much?
Gullible. Yeah, I haven't used that word I can't remember the last time I used that word.
Do you think that was a good word to remove from the dictionary then maybe and replace it with other words that are more commonly used?
Yeah, I think they could have gone some other direction. I think they could have gone, I don't know, wasting paper somewhere else, like paper bags at the store or something like that.
Because the word gullible is still relevant today, do you think?
I think so.
Obviously, I know it is.
But seriously, Jay, this is pathetic. Even more pathetic than the time that I was censored from The Tonight Show. Seriously, back in 2013, I had some friends visiting from out of town, and I thought it'd be fun to get some tickets for the live studio audience. And so when we were in line, the staff picked some random people to participate in a skit, and I was one of those people. And they had these sort of pre-scripted questions that we were to ask Jay to sort of set up for him to have a punchline with. And mine was something like, hey, Jay, you're a big car guy. Have you ever been in a car commercial? And then, he played like a pre-recorded commercial that he was in, part of the joke, right? And so I asked my question. He played the skit. Everything was fine. I got a nice t-shirt. After the show, the staff thanked me, said that was great. And then later that night, because it's live to tape, a couple hours later when it aired, it didn't show up. The other 3 or 4 people that participated in the skit were all in the show, but I was mysteriously missing. And if you watch the show, you could see me there in the audience, but they cut my part out. And it wasn't like for time or anything like that, because these shows are recorded live to tape. They literally, because they took my name down, I probably should give them a different name, but they went and looked me up, or somebody knew who I was, and they literally decided to edit me out of the show. That one I don't hold against you, Jay. That's the producer's fault, obviously, but apologizing for jokes for offending a certain ethnic group, pathetic. For example, I noticed that in the comments of a previous video, after I said that I'm an American, I'm not eating bugs, I don't live in India or something like that, some of the Indian viewers were offended, and they said, wait, we don't eat bugs here. That's China. That's not us. And I could tell some of them weren't just correcting me, they were actually offended. And I'm not sorry. Listen, if I was wrong, I would be fine issuing a correction, but this is not an apology. I might have confused China with India. They don't supposedly eat bugs in India. They do, however, bathe in the same rivers that they drink from. Oh no, what are you gonna do now? Make some jokes about Americans? Well, I'll probably just laugh and agree with you, because I'm not a snowflake. Late night comedy used to be very politically neutral. Nobody really knew where Johnny Carson stood on issues, or even David Letterman for that matter. But now, this is what passes for comedy.
It's been 2 days since the election was called for Biden, and as of this taping, Donald Trump has refused to concede. That's fine, but until he does, I refuse to remember his name. What was it again? It was Ronald Klump? Baldwin Grunt? They'll come to me.
And don't get me started on Seth Meyers, whose presentation is so flat and boring that it's worse than a high school RTV class. But people still watch, though, because things like this pass for entertainment these days.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Competent leaders getting us back on our feet. The American Rescue Plan, it has almost everything. A year into this mess, recovery unfolds. How many wonders can one rescue plan hold? Reading it over, you'd think, really? No Republicans voted for this thing.
That is literally a woman singing about how great the coronavirus stimulus package is, and liberals really think that she's talented. If people stop being so cowardly and stand up to the cancel culture mob and really mock them, that's probably the best way to do it. There is a chance that we may be able to finally, one day, put an end to this stupidity. For instance, back in the early 1960s, comedians like Lenny Bruce were actually arrested for making jokes on stage in comedy clubs for violating supposed obscenity laws, which obviously were a violation of the First Amendment. And there were all sorts of court cases and lawsuits, and he didn't stop. He kept making jokes, kept getting arrested, and thanks to people like him and George Carlin, they were able to change the culture and change comedy and really change the country. So as bad as things are now regarding cancel culture and as crazy as society is, surprisingly, things were actually worse. And we were able to pull out of it. So there still is some hope that we can get through this. Of course, I'll continue to do my best to try to make comedy great again during these troubling times. And if you want to support my work, you know what to do by now. Get yourself a Liberalism Find a Cure t-shirt, long sleeve, or a hoodie. Or if that's not your style, I'm sure that you'll enjoy a I Love Global Warming shirt, or it contains facts and opinions some may find offensive shirt, or any of my awesome designs. So head on over to markdash.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.